Welcome, this is Pineleaf News, Skirmish from Middle-earth. As you see, it's 10 minutes before they shut down the server for our update 14.1, and before they did that I wanted to check some prices so we could compare before and after on
You are ill-equipped to venture into these lands.
for the prices, which is one of the things that are in the patch notes for changes. Now, let's see on the Guardsman armor, which is the high-end stuff. We have 525 marks and 82 medallions are the prices for the items here. So therefore, about 500 marks, 80 medallions if we go by approximations. And for the slotted stuff, same price. And of course we only have slotted stuff available for 195. Now, the patch notes say that they will be reducing prices, so I'll expect the same things to be available, just that they won't be as much. But we'll see how much that changes. As for legendary items,
Of what help may I be to you?
one of the things that are more expensive, let's see what we have here. Now, fortunately they have all this mess here. They said that they are going to be reorganizing this, so they put the first stage item symbols together. You can't even tell the level on the first stage item symbols here. These are tarnished symbols, which are the 85s, for example. So you don't know which one is which. As for these, so let's see, we have the blemish symbols of Celebrimbor, which currently have 4,860 medallions and 654 that's marks and 654 medallions. Meanwhile, 3,780 marks and 1,472 medallions. Now, currently, none of them require seals. I think they are going to be dropping those prices, but adding a seal cost, and I'll be double checking that afterwards. And as for a javelin, that will cost me 2,970 and 246. And we'll see how those prices work when they resume. And unfortunately, they've never gotten around to adding bridles in here, but since bridles drop like candy, I guess it really doesn't matter. Titles, well, still no real good titles, just the old titles for 52 because, well, I don't think anyone gets those titles unless they're early in items. And I guess that is it. Let's see what else we have here. Heavy armor, that'll be the same price as the regular armor. Cosmetics, are they going to change any cosmetic prices?
What do you expect of me? What do you have to trade?
Well, let us look at some cosmetic clothing. Those seem to be, the decorative hauberk is 149 and 10. Not very expensive, so therefore, if it does change, it's not going to change all that much, I suspect. Now, most of these items are probably low cost simply because, well, they're not all that they've been around forever. They probably had a couple of price drops already in any case. Housing, Thorn's Bust, 259 and 88. Alright, so crafting, classic, medium armor, anything here that would be curiosities.
Do not assume to mislead me.
Always one for the people with class items they're doing. Let's see, we have 185 for the Emblem of Ritual, and for the high end, the Winged Dominance, 481 for the. So those are the major class items in there. So 481 seems to be the high end on those. As for our provisioner, well, let us see what we... Well, the shop
Not
won't
assume to
change.
mislead me, Duvodiad.
The
What do
barter
you have
items
to offer the Ukhluth?
want level 100 curatives, and the Anphalas ones are 195 for a bunch of 5. That can get a little bit on the expensive side. So, of course, a lot of people go and get them from scholars in any case. Anything else that we can check before we go? Oh, yes, of course, we do want to check. We will, of course, be checking also whether or not they fixed the skirmish captain and their inability to assign
Do not
traits.
assume to mislead me, Devodian.
But let's see what we have in the way of... Well, of course, my archer seems to be fully trained right now, but let's see, my warrior will go to go up to 41 will cost 409 currently. So we'll see how high that goes, whether that changes from 409. Skills for my archer. So all my skills are full, so therefore we'll have to go... Does anyone have anything higher than 26? Banner guard is at... Alright, check my banner guard. So to go to 36 on banner guard will cost 44. So none of them really have particularly high values in the other ones. How about training? Yes, training, I do have some higher ones on here. 38 for 70. So if I remove these... Yeah, but those, of course, those are all will be low-level ones, so I guess that's not going to tell us much information. But therefore, the highest one that we have here then will be for the various roles, which are at 409 currently. And we'll see later on, we'll cut to where we are at the new version after the posting of 14.1 and see how significant the changes are, but especially, did they fix the skirmish captain? And we'll see that in a moment.
We are back from the patch, and let's first check the skirmish captain. Manage your traits. Okay.
You are ill-equipped to venture into these lands.
Now, probably what I will do is just take a couple of these off, and the confirm button is on. So I will presume that that means that they have fixed it. I will go into my Runekeeper for my next episode there that I do. I will double check there, since there I actually want to make a change. Here I don't want to make a real change, so do you want to undo the changes? Yes, I want to undo the changes. But it looks like the skirmish captain is fixed. Now let's see how much.
You are ill-equipped to venture into these lands.
Let's see how much it costs to train a soldier now. 316. That's a significant drop. That seems to be about 20% off of what it used to be. So let's see about legendary stuff.
Of what help may I be to you?
Well, it looks like they have one area for first stage symbols now. That's a relief. I was getting tired of all those areas they had before. Alright, crafted Warren's Javelin is now 1694. Wow, that is quite a deep cut, because it used to be around 2900, so that's about 40% off what it used to be. Not as much off on the medallion side, but it's still quite a bit less than before. As for the blemished items, now requires a seal on top of it, and I didn't realize I had any seals. How about that? So I do have a couple of seals, so therefore if I did need one of these, I would still be able to get one. But the symbol is, excluding the, of course, the obvious addition of a seal in there, is considerably less for how much it cost in the marks and the medallions. Just that now there is a seal cost added on top of it. Alright, very well. Now, as for first stage symbols, we have a worn, tarnished, so we have separate ones. They consolidate, so you only have the 85, your 75, and your 65s are available. Though these all only require medallions, where they no longer require seals, so if I needed a first stage item for a lower level, will I be able to get it, or would I require something else? It looks like, yes, it looks like that there is a requirement that you finished in defensive Erebor challenge. Now, I've heard that that is a bug and that they didn't intend to you require to finish that challenge, especially for the level 65 ones, but that'll be in the next update where they'll fix that. So we'll have to wait. Fortunately, of course, if you're lower levels, I don't know about you, but I don't consider
What do you have to offer the Occluth?
first stage symbols all that important while you're leveling, so we'll see what happens. As for these, for level 100 pieces, they're costing $312.55. Alright, 312. Yes, that's a nice cut from the 525 we had before. Now, I think the reason why they're making all these price cuts
to venture into these lands.
is due to Turbine no longer giving you bonuses for running the skirmishes with the, see, what was it that you're, with the instance finder, because when you used the instance finder, you would used to get a scaling bonus to your skirmishes. And I think when they put out Helm's Deep, they dropped the prices fair enough based on the price that the mark drop rates were going, but I didn't think it was fair enough based on the removal of those bonuses. So I think that this is what this is all about, is it was to compensate for that. Of course, I could be completely wrong, since I did not take a good enough look, as I'm doing here, during the Helm's Deep change. Alright, the Emblem of Rituals now 89, and before it was 185, so that is, now that is quite a cut in price. So the class items then for the class quest did quite a drop, which is a shame considering that I have a character, my Runekeeper, who just recently went through that entire quest series. So that concludes what we have here at the Skirmish Camp. I see that the prices, especially at the higher levels, did drop considerably. Now, I think they said the higher price, the more it was, so I suspect we won't have as high a drop on the cosmetics, but let's see. I did miss the cosmetic dealer. Ah, yes, there she is.
Do not assume to mislead me, Duvodiad.
And Thorn's bust now is 123, when before it was 259. That is, well, that's half the price. The medallions didn't go down as much. It would be 44 if those were also cut in half, but looks like the cosmetics also went down considerably. So, ooh, that's right. I did want to talk to the provisioner because she has the curatives.
What do you expect of me? What do you have to trade?
So the Anphalas Mythal Milk Thistle is 124, and They used to be 195, so they didn't go quite down as high as the other did. But it looks like we had some considerable changes in. It looks like it's the same price as the Westaments. Well, why would anyone buy a Westament? Well, that concludes my little tour of the skirmish camp in looking at the various price changes with 14.1. Until then, this is Pine Leaf Needles, and remember to skirmish responsibly.